Welcome back to another live stream on the channel. We got a lot to talk about today. The crypto market is recovering. Things are going up. Yet there is a lot of uncertainty in TradFi. The stock market is down. The dollar is down. Gold is going up, which usually signifies a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear. So we're going to discuss all of this, and it begs the question, is this the start of the alt season, or is this potentially a bull trap? Is this a dead cat bounce? Is this a sucker rally? You know, what is this pump? Because it doesn't really make sense to me. I'm looking at kind of, volume. I'm looking at TradFi. I'm looking at loads of things. It doesn't really make sense to me why the market is up today. It's not really adding up. And quite often on Mondays, you do get false moves. But at the same time, a lot is happening with the charts. So we're going to look at a lot of things. We're going to look at Total 3. We're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to take a look at some individual altcoins. We're going to tie in some of the TradFi elements into this as well. So it is going to be a very in-depth live stream. So if that sounds interesting, please make sure to leave a like on the stream. And we'll get straight into it. Just a reminder, there is a current sale available on the VIP group, linked in the description. It's pinned in the comment section as well. Use the code SAVE20 at checkout. I'm telling you now, this code will not be here for long. Once the market recovers, the code will be gone. So take full advantage of it while you can. I was just in the Discord just then. There was a massive voice call going on. There was about 40 people in the call. We were discussing Bitcoin. We were discussing what to do in a bear market scenario, how high we're going to go on the next leg. It was a very good conversation. So I highly recommend you guys join the group, join the community. And, you can talk to myself in some voice chats pretty regularly. So We'll get straight into it today, and then I will get into the comments. So please do get your questions in the chat now. I've been telling you guys lately about Total 3. This is the total market cap of everything in crypto apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's a very important chart if you're an altcoin investor. And I've been pointing out that it is approaching the March highs right now. So all of my focus and attention is on this chart. If we can have a sustained break above, a weekly close above the March highs, I would most likely flip bullish on altcoins. But that would also require Bitcoin getting above the kind of 91K level where we broke down. And you can see on this chart, this is an old chart. I shared this one with you guys loads. How many times we came down to 91K? 91, 91, 91, 91, 91. Many times we used it as support. And then eventually we broke down below 91K. And that was the beginning of the end for our mini bull run that we had. So all of my focus and attention right now is on Bitcoin and Total 3. That's what I'm looking at. If Bitcoin gets above 91, we get a weekly close above 91, and Total 3 closes above the March highs, I would most likely flip bullish on everything. Right now, I'm still kind of bullish, but I'm just cautiously bullish. You know, I'm cautiously bullish. I'm a little bit neutral. I'm still very much in the market. I've got a bit of a cash position, but I'm still very much in the market. And I'm just waiting for these levels to be met. And right now, they haven't been met. Right now, we're actually at resistance with the Total 3, and we're almost at the 91K level. The only little bit of concern I have right now is what's going on with the US stock market. The US stock market is crashing today. You know, a 3% dump on the S&P 500. That isn't really normal. That's a pretty big correction. And this is after a massive correction it's already had. So the S&P 500 is down 3%. The NASDAQ is down over 3%. The VIX, okay, the volatility index is up 16.5%. That's a lot for the VIX. Tesla down 7%. Apple down 3%. There's a lot of uncertainty with US equities. Obviously, all to do with the tariffs, but it's also partly due to the fact that Trump is trying to fire Jerome Powell. And, you know, that isn't really a good look for the markets. It doesn't really give people, you know, a lot of certainty. In fact, it creates uncertainty. The DXY, however, which is known for being inverse with Bitcoin, with a bit of a lag. So usually when the DXY has a crash, you know, give it a few weeks, Bitcoin starts pumping usually. There's a little bit of a delay there, but the DXY, the dollar index, is absolutely getting crushed right now. Absolutely getting crushed. I mean, I thought maybe it came down to here and then it finds a floor, but it hasn't even found a floor yet. So the DXY is looking horrible. It's just continuing to go down, which is actually usually a pretty good thing for Bitcoin. The only difference is the dollar is weakening because of tariffs, because of, you know, monetary policy and things like that. So, you know, it's an interesting one. But right now, things are definitely looking better. If we look at the overall market, most coins are up, but it's not enough to really give you that feeling of, yeah, the bull run's back on, alt season's around the corner. It's not doing that for me personally. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not feeling like this is the alt season just here now. Now, I do think May and June are probably going to be bullish, if you think about it. If you look at the global liquidity, if you look at loads of different things, I do think the summer is probably going to be mostly bullish. And a move to the upside is coming. But there are some critical levels that we need to get above, and we haven't done that yet. Bitcoin's not above 91. The Total 3 is currently not above the March highs. In fact, it's almost on them, okay? But it could be a pretty big rejection point here. So that's what I'm watching. Gold as well, absolutely soaring. Very, very interesting indeed. There's a ton of uncertainty in the US market. I think for us to have a truly good alt season, some of that uncertainty needs to be calmed. We need a situation where the US stock market recovers, where AI stocks recover, where tech stocks recover, and then altcoins can have another run up. As much as we're pumping right now, despite the stock market doing bad, I think that's just a blip. And usually these things are short-lasted. You know, when the stock market's down and Bitcoin's up, it usually lasts a day or two, and then it just gets back aligned again, right? So I really hope the US stock market and some of the tech stocks can start to gain some momentum again, because that would really be the catalyst for another run on altcoins, okay? So that's what I'm looking at. People are asking about rate cuts. I don't think we get a rate cut in May. I think maybe we get one in June and July, potentially. One of those two we definitely get, I think. But yeah, things are so uncertain right now. The odds and probabilities are changing every day. 1 minute it looks like we're getting a rate cut in June. Next minute it's 50-50. Next minute it's unlikely. It's just very hard to predict the short term. And that's why you've got to zoom out. And when you zoom out and you look at history, you would usually have the inclination here that Bitcoin is going to make one final run. And I believe it's going to be somewhat like what happened last cycle, where we had the mid-cycle dump followed by a second run. And that's what I think is going to happen. So let me know what you guys think. I mean, the reason I believe that to be the case is because of the similarity with the Gaussian channel. I mean, it literally looks the same. The way we came down to the Gaussian channel here and here, it literally looks the same. I mean, it's brewing, guys, but there could be a little bit of chop before that happens. So don't expect, 5-10x's overnight. There's going to be some patience required. But these are my top altcoins. I'm going to get into the comments now, see what you guys are saying. But yeah, please do smash the likes on the stream. Get your questions in. How many likes are we on right now? Let's take a quick look. Remember, the more likes we get, the longer the live streams last. If we get like 500 likes, I'll be doing the live stream 24/7 all day. Okay, I won't sleep. But if we get like 20 likes, then I'll probably be ending it pretty soon. So smash the likes on the stream, and we'll get into some of the questions. So let me just move my camera up. So Gabri says, hey, Archie, great job. Do you think May is going to be bearish as usual, even after all the corrections? Thanks. Great question. So the sell in May go away phenomena usually plays out when you had a very bullish Q1 and Q2. Thus far, we've had probably the worst Q1 in a long time since the FTX crash. No, that was Q4. So we've had a really bad Q1, okay, especially in the stock market. It's been the worst Q1 in a long, long time. And with crypto, this has been the worst Q1 in a post-halving year. Every other post-halving year, so the year after the halving for Bitcoin, has been bullish. 2017 Q1 was good. 2021 Q1 was good. This one, awful. Now, selling May go away usually plays out on the back of a Q1 being really, really green. Okay, because everyone's up, everyone takes profits in May. Right now, we're in a situation where May's coming and no one has profits to take, really. So I don't think that's going to play out as much as it has previously. And when you look at the money supply trajectory, it looks like it's going to be going up in May. So if anything, and I'm going to be on record here, I could be wrong. I'm an analyst, just like a lot of other analysts. We're not right all the time. Maybe 7 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, who knows? But I'm not right all the time. I'm wrong sometimes. I think May will be green, personally. I think it will. And selling May go away would have played out had we pumped a lot, right? If Bitcoin was at like 140K right now, then yeah, I would probably say May is going to be very, very bearish. And that is actually what I expected. I expected Q1 to be bullish, just like almost everyone. I mean, if you did a poll a year ago, Q1 2025, bullish or bearish, I bet 90% of people would have said bullish. So almost everyone expected Q1 to be green. Okay. Had we been looking at a 140K Bitcoin right now, 150K Bitcoin, I think, yeah, May would probably be a big, big sell wall. But considering the fact that we've been bearish, I don't think it's going to play out as usual. And this cycle is full of surprises. It's full of curveballs. So to me, if anything, it would make sense that May would be green instead of red. Yeah, we've had a Q4 top every single cycle. I have the feeling this Q4 will not be as green as usual. And there's various reasons for that. I was talking about it in the VIP Discord call earlier. I think some of the effects of the macroeconomic uncertainty will be realized later on in the year. It doesn't all happen overnight. You know, you have 10% tariffs across the world. You don't see the effects instantly. Things take time. It takes time before companies start cutting staff. It takes time before consumers start cutting back and you see the earnings decrease on a ton of companies. These things take time. It doesn't happen overnight. So I think we still have a few months of the can being kicked down the road, and kind of the wall being put over our eyes as investors. I think they're going to try and sugarcoat what's going on. But then later on in the year, we start to see it in the hard data that what's been going on has been pretty bad. Okay. So that's my stance. I think summer is probably green and then winter is probably red. But look, it's crypto, right? Anything can happen, but that's just my stance. And I'm always willing to adjust. As an investor, you need to be willing to adapt based on the data. You can have your beliefs, you know, you can have your expectations, but if things change in the macro, you need to change along with it, right? There's been times in the past I was really, really bullish on a certain coin, and then something changed fundamentally with that coin. I sold it, I moved on, never looked back, okay? And people think I'm a hypocrite for selling the coin, but no, things changed, right? The team were no longer working as hard as they did, so I sold it. You know, if a team at one point were working really hard and they were really good, the project was bullish, and then next minute they're sat on beanbags, twiddling their thumbs, smoking weed, you probably want to sell the coin, right? So that's my stance is, you know, you should always be willing to adapt and change your views based on the market dynamics. And that works with a specific coin. That also works with the macro economy. But yeah, the 4-year cycle indicates a top in October. That's what the 4-year cycle says. Okay, if you don't know the 4-year cycle, I'll pull it up right now. People should understand the cyclical theory with Bitcoin, because it has played out the last few cycles. Basically, every 4 years, you have the halving. The year after the halving, you have the banana zone, the parabolic bull run. That's what happens with the 4-year cycle, okay? The problem is altcoins don't come into the 4-year cycle because the 4-year cycle is for Bitcoin. It's the Bitcoin 4-year cycle based off the halving. So we've been in a situation where Bitcoin kind of has been following the 4-year cycle to a degree. Now, there have been cracks. Okay, let me just show this on the chart. So there have been cracks, but overall, Bitcoin's been following it. Ethereum and altcoins have not been following it. Ethereum went off course like 6 months ago, whatever, 4 months ago. Ethereum, it was somewhat on course. It was on the right track. The train was on the right track. And then all of a sudden, it went right off course and it went right onto a different path. The train was supposed to go from, you know, New York to LA, and somehow it ended up in freaking Toronto. The train went way off track to somewhere else. That's what happened with Ethereum. But Bitcoin, it's fairly cyclically coherent, I would say, to a degree. But we did have that March high in 2024, which did kind of give a little crack in the Bitcoin cycle for me, because everyone expected Bitcoin's new high to happen the end of 2024, not the beginning of 2024 as it did. So This cycle has been very, very weird. It's been a little bit weird for Bitcoin, but it's been really, really weird for Ethereum. And that's why it does feel different, because it is. It's not just a random phenomena. It's a real thing. This cycle has been different for altcoins. But yeah, the 4-year cycle, you know, if you look at these major pumps on Bitcoin, they always play out in the post-halving year. So 2017, when was the halving? It was 2016. 2021, when was the halving? It was 2020. 2025, this year, when was the halving? It was 2024. So, you know, every time it tops out in Q4, we should, in theory, be topping out in October this year. But I just don't know if that's going to play out. I have my skepticisms based on what we've already seen this cycle being very different. But it could. It could be the ultimate surprise, and it just plays out as we all expected all along. Okay, Jordan has 20% in Casper, 20% in SUI, 20% in Tau, 15% in Ondo, 15% in Render, and 10% in Say. Does that even add up? I think so. I'm not going to do the math, but you're trying to get a 4 to 5x. I think that's very doable. I think it is. I mean, some of those coins, it's almost a 4 to 5x just to its all-time high. So, you know, I think that's very, very doable. But yeah, nice portfolio, man. You got some quality coins. I'm a big fan of that. Casper, SUI, Tau, and Ondo should be in every portfolio. And if you haven't got Casper or SUI, I think you need to get on the VIP and have a conversation with me, because I don't know what you're doing. Okay, I'm interested in your strategy, but if you haven't got Casper or SUI, literally the 2 best layer 1s, then we need a discussion. You should go on the VIP anyway, even if you have those 2, because, you know, 24/7 voice chats, almost. I mean, not every day. But, you know, some days I'm in these voice chats for like 8 hours. Some days. But the text channels, those are open 24/7, you know. But the voice chat, I mean, most of the time, there's probably someone in there, like half the time. Very, very active, especially when there's a lot going on with the markets. I've seen these voice chats open for 2 days straight, and there's people in there talking like 48 hours straight. So it really is an active community where it never sleeps. I mean, even at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., sometimes there'll be someone in the voice chat. There'll be people in the text channels sharing new ideas, sharing news, sharing altcoin gems. It's a great group to be in. And it's on discount right now because the market's been dumping. But since Bitcoin's up, probably going to have to remove the discount very soon. So take full advantage of that save 20 code while you can. Let's go, Archie. Much love from Australia. I hope you are well, my friend. I am doing very well. I was actually in a mini car crash today. I was actually in a situation where a car went into the back of the car I was in. I was getting an Uber, and yeah, I mean, a car went right into the back. So it was pretty interesting. Interesting day so far. First time I've experienced that. But yeah, I'm doing very well. Hope this is the bottom and we see a nice bounce from here. I agree, man. You know, I think there's a solid chance Bitcoin has done a bottom there at that 74K level. It really makes sense if it did. Because first of all, the structure looks really nice. It did a nice double bottom there. And it didn't do it at a random point. I was telling people about 74K for a very long time because that is the March 2024 high. Bitcoin doesn't just find support at random levels. It finds support quite often at its prior highs, and that's exactly what it did there. So to me, there's multiple points of confluence. That's not even mentioning the Gaussian channel that got hit, which has been acting as support for a bull run very, very well. This is better than the bull market support band. A lot of people look at the bull market support band. I look at the Gaussian channel. I think it's a lot better. You can see every single time it's hit it, this 49K drop here, that was on the Gaussian channel. Very, very good indicator. That held in. So I think the bottom is in. My question is, are we ready for an alt season just yet? That's the question. There's still a lot of economic uncertainty. I think the consumer right now, they're not doing great. Most people haven't got a ton of disposable income. We need a little bit of time until we have that major run, right? We need a bit of time. We need QT to come to an end and maybe a rate cut or two. And then we'll have that final little pump. I say little, it will probably be big, but I just don't think it'll be as big as maybe some of the previous bull runs. I'm kind of targeting somewhere between 110 to 130K on Bitcoin. Anywhere in that region, I think, has a good solid chance of being the top. This trend line is very, very interesting. If you go on Bitcoin, you pull up the 2-week chart, you zoom all the way back to 2017. This trend line has played out every single cycle top. 2017 top, 2021 first top, 2021 second top, 2025 top. Okay, the two tops of this cycle as well. The one at 106 and the one at 109 both happen to be on that trend line. This is literally like unreal how well it's playing out. So there is a solid chance we could find some resistance, you know, in the summer, maybe around 120, 116, 117, somewhere along that trend line. But if we were to break above that, we're in like full-on price discovery. I mean, there's nothing stopping us at that point. So a break above that trend line would like put us into price discovery, and there'd be really nothing above us as resistance other than maybe fib extension levels, which VIP members are very, very aware of because we talk about it every single call. We talk about the fib extension levels on Bitcoin, and that there was actually one at 109K, 110K. So Bitcoin didn't just top out there at a random point. It topped out at a fib level. If you put on the fibs from... When was it? Was it the fibs from the 2021 high to the bear market low? Or was it the fibs from the 74 to the 49K? Yeah, I mean, that puts the top at like 110. So very interesting how we stopped off there. You know, the fibs are very, very good tools. I highly recommend everyone gets used to using a fib extension and fib retracement on their charts. It really does help out. It's obviously not a crystal ball, but it does help out a ton. What kind of memes would you add? I know not memes right now. Yeah, I'm personally holding like quality blue chip defensive plays right now in my portfolio. Projects I think will not go to zero if we have another dump because there is a lot of turbulence in the market. So I'm of the belief that you should hold quality coins rather than just searching for low market caps right now. There was a time to do that. You know, during November, I was making a lot of money on meme coins, but I'm not so much doing that now. Right now, I'm in a defensive portfolio full of quality plays. SUI, Casper, Tau, Ondo, Bitcoin, projects like that, okay? Now, memes, I'm not completely against them at this point in time, but I would just rather hold blue chips as opposed to memes in my portfolio. Does that mean you do the same? I don't know. You do you, right? But I'm not getting the major appeal to meme coins right now. That might change. And like I said earlier, if the market changes, I'll adapt with it. But consumers right now, I think they're going to be struggling, right? Retail is going to be struggling. I don't think they're going to have like tens of thousands of dollars to just throw at random meme coins at this point in time. It needs to catch up. So maybe they will in a few months' time, but right now I don't think they do. But if I was gonna pick a meme, I would probably go with Fartcoin and then maybe SPX 6900. And Pepe is quite low as well. They would be the main picks. And yeah, I'm bullish on SUI, so why not add a SUI meme, you know, for shits and giggles? False move Monday. Yeah, quite often on Monday you do get a bit of a false move. What was the Bitcoin dominance doing during the 2021 bull run for alts? Dumping. Dumping. The altcoin bull run requires Bitcoin dominance to dump. Otherwise, it's by definition not catching up to Bitcoin. I mean, you need alts to outperform Bitcoin to have an alt run. Otherwise, they're not, you know, beating Bitcoin. They're not really having a bull run if that's the case. No more than what Bitcoin is. So if you look at Bitcoin dominance, BTC.D, I mean, this is where we went off course, guys. Okay, if you want to understand where this bull run went off course, you go and take a look at Bitcoin dominance January 1st, 2021, which is the cyclical point of, you know, a post-halving year, usually where the banana zone happens. And then go and look at January 1st, 2025. All right. This is the difference, guys. You need to understand this cycle is different. It's not just an illusion. Okay, there'll be a ton of guys on Twitter. They'll just say to you, "Oh, it's just an illusion. Everything's going to plan. Everything's the same as normal. It's all going to plan." And some people won't say that. Some people will use other copium tactics. They'll say, "Oh, it's just delayed. We're just delayed a little bit." Whatever you want to say, okay? Whatever you want to say to make yourself feel better, to sugarcoat things, this cycle has not been the same. It's been very different, particularly with altcoins. Bitcoin, like I said earlier, it's been a bit different. Altcoins, very, very, very different. Completely different with altcoins, like Ethereum. So you can see very clearly, if you've got two eyes, that, you know, from the start of 2021, Bitcoin dominance capitulated. From the start of 2021 to basically where we are now, Bitcoin dominance went down, you know, 40% or so, 42% during that period. What's happened this time? Bitcoin dominance has gone up 14%. Not down 14%, not down 10%, up 14%. The polar opposite. So I want you guys, and you guys can do what you want, but I want you to block, ban, unsubscribe, delete any channel, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube, whatever, any channel that's saying everything's just the same, everything is going to plan exactly the same, everything's completely normal, anything like that, you just get rid of them. They're not helping you. They're telling you absolute BS. They're basically lying to your face, because this is not the same. Bitcoin dominance is not the same. Ethereum isn't the same. Basically everything's different. So now that's okay. I'm not trying to FUD here. That's okay. We can get out of this. I think there's time for us to have a really good run on Bitcoin and altcoins even more. But there's no doubting things are different. If people are saying things are the exact same, they're just putting the wool over your eyes, okay? And they're not helping you. And I would point to someone who's been spot on with this, being Benjamin Cowan, okay? He's someone you should subscribe to. Because he's not just putting the wool over your eyes, okay? He's literally looking at the charts. And that's all you can do. And I'm not a moon boy, okay? It's very rare that I get called a moon boy. I've been called a moon boy maybe twice. I'm very much in the realistic camp of looking at the charts, being objective. And I'm not going to be right every time, okay? I'm not going to be right every time. But I will always be looking at things with a realistic vision as opposed to my head being in the clouds. And anyone who joins the voice chats in the Discord, like the one we were on just then for a few hours earlier before the stream, anyone who joins the voice chats, you know, I am very much black and white, looking at the charts, objective, not much emotion. So highly, highly recommend you use the discount you get in the group so you can get in the voice chats and get my buy alerts as well. Hey, Archie, good to see you again. Thank you. Just a question with Tau and SUI staking. Do you suggest staking? No, I'm not staking anything. I think the market's too uncertain to stake, especially like when it's not flexible. If it's flexible staking, then we can maybe discuss it. But if it's fixed staking, as in you don't get a choice of whether you can just withdraw at any point, you're locked in. If you're locked in, I think that's highly, highly risky. I wouldn't be doing that because this market, especially the macro, is so uncertain right now. Anything can happen, and you need to be adaptable. You need to be in the situation where if you need to sell, you can. You're positioned so that you can sell when you need to. You don't want to be in the position of being locked into an altcoin staking position. Okay, so that's my stance on staking. I currently am staking nothing. I'm not staking anything. Now, I'm not completely against it. I've staked coins in the past and it's been fine. But I'm just not doing it myself. Can Casper really cross the $1 range? Yeah, because I've been hearing moon price predictions. Yeah, there's all sorts of Moonboy, head in the clouds, haven't got a clue price predictions on Casper. There's all sorts of ridiculous price predictions for this year. You know, you'll hear people say we can go to $15, $20, $30, $40. I've even heard $50 this year. Absolute ridiculous, asinine, stupid targets, okay, based on nothing other than just, oh, this number sounds good. It's going to $50. It's going to $10. It sounds good. Based off nothing. I actually base my price predictions off the charts and off the fundamentals and off the macro as well, which a lot of people don't look at. The macro is very important with crypto. I am not predicting a Casper at $5, $10, $15, $20, $25, $30. Okay, I'm not doing that. I think Casper will do well. In my opinion, it's the best technology in crypto. I've said that before. I'll say it again. So I'm not in any ways fudding Casper. People need to understand that. I've been talking about Casper longer than almost every single YouTuber. I was talking about it in 2022 on my channel. And I understand the project very well and how the price action moves. And I think it will do good things. I think it will do very well. But, you know, some of these predictions you hear from all sorts of people, right? They just don't add up. Okay, that's the thing. So I think it could hit $1, but that would be my bull case right now. That would be like my bullish, optimistic case. My realistic case would be more like maybe 50 cents, something like that. Because there's going to be a lot of things that need to happen for Casper to hit $1. You need probably QE. There's no guarantee that happens this year. You need a very, very high Bitcoin price as well. Probably Bitcoin above 150K for that to happen. There's just so many things that need to go the way of Casper for it to hit above $1 or above. So, I'm not going to throw around a random arbitrary number. Look, anything can happen. It could hit 20 cents. It could hit 30. It could go as high as 80 cents. It could go as high as $1. Okay, but when you start talking above $2, that's where I just tune out and stop listening, right? But yeah, it all depends really how long it takes Casper to get above its all-time high. If it takes Casper like 4 months to get above its all-time high, then it's going to really, really struggle to get to $1 because it won't have time on its side, because I think 2026 is going to be brutal. So we'll monitor it. But besides, my strategy with altcoins is to base my profit taking primarily off Bitcoin. Because if you look at when Bitcoin topped out here, it topped on January 20th. Almost every single altcoin also topped out on January 20th. So altcoins follow Bitcoin very closely, maybe not to the T, but usually they'll top out a day, a week, around the same time as Bitcoin. So you don't need to overcomplicate it too much with specific altcoin charting. I mean, I definitely chart specific altcoins. I do that. But it's more of a guide rather than like a absolute strategy. Because altcoins can do anything. They are highly, highly speculative. And that's why they make us so much money, because sometimes they do a 20x, sometimes they do a 50x. But for anyone to sit and say they know exactly where Casper's going, that, they're just BSing you. Sonic, I think it'll do all right. I much prefer SUI, though, because it's been more of a clear winner this cycle. And I think a lot of the coins which have been clear winners and already done well this cycle, they will continue to be the clear winners in the next run. Whereas something like Sonic, it's much more speculative, much more uncertain. So I would rather go with the clear winner in that layer 1 fast category, scalable layer 1 category. I'd go with SUI. And then Casper as well is another one. I don't think they'll kick the can to 2026. I hear this a lot, and it's a really interesting topic, but I don't think that will be the scenario. I think there'll already be many damages evident by the end of 2025, which will prevent that from happening. The main argument for there being a run in 2026 is based off the midterms. But I don't think that's a strong enough argument to say that the whole global economy is going to go up in 2026 just because Trump wants to win the midterms. I don't know if that's a strong enough argument. I would look at so many other things other than just that. I would look at the 18.6-year real estate cycle. I would look at the global liquidity cycle. I would look at the global business cycle. I would look at the stock market cycle, the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin. There's so many things arguing the opposite of that I find it hard to believe that 2026 will be a good year. If Casper goes to $1, I'll go to Dubai. Yeah, it'll definitely make a lot of people's year if that happens. And it's possible, but it's just looking more and more unlikely by the day. I've got to be honest. I mean, people will be giving you the same price targets as they gave you a year ago. And the reality is a lot has happened in the last year that people didn't expect. So it's changed the course of the market. As I've said many times in this live stream, when things change, you ought to change as well as a reasonable investor. And people will tell you, oh, nothing's changed. Everything's the same. We're still on course completely. It's not true. Just look at the charts. It's not true. So if you were predicting $5 for Casper a year ago and you haven't changed that now, despite Casper being lower than what it was a year ago, you know, you're not being objective. Casper can do great. Can do great. And I hope it does, because it's a lot of my wealth is in Casper, you know, so I hope it does do well. And it is looking good right now, the chart. It's breaking out. Completely true. There was I told you guys on my last Casper video that Casper needs to get above 8.2 for me to kind of flip bullish on the chart. And it's done that. So this was kind of a clear resistance level previously. Casper right now is trying to get above it, and it's doing that. So Casper's chart does look good. We got a nice double bottom there on the chart, on the daily. We got it breaking above the previous resistance. We've got loads of bullish catalysts for Casper for the rest of this year. So this is one of, if not the best altcoin to hold for 2025. Based on its fundamentals and its catalysts, it's the best. But based on the all-time chart, I think SUI's all-time chart looks a little bit better right now. Just the structure of it. But both will do great, and that's why you have a diversified portfolio. But guys, smash the likes on the live stream. Get the likes up. And also make sure you guys are getting yourselves over to the VIP Discord. It's linked in the description. Use the code SAVE20 at checkout. You're going to save yourself 20%. That also applies to the other payment intervals. So if you want, you can actually pay every 3 months to already save 19% on that. Or if you want to pay every year, you can save 39% on that. And you can cancel anytime. So it already has a 39% discount on 1 year, which is basically 40. If you add another 20% discount on top of that, it's even more. So for me, if I was an investor looking to join a group, looking to gain some wisdom from a collective unit of like-minded individuals, I would be going for the yearly, and I'd be applying that 20% discount right now before it goes. But yeah, man, SUI was also looking pretty interesting, the chart. We've got this kind of chart pattern here. It looks like it's at resistance as we speak. If SUI can get above here, that would pretty much be a confirmed breakout. It's above the money flow point of control there. So things are definitely looking more positive, that's for sure. It seems very much like that 2021 second pump that we had. It really, really does. Like, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. It's similar. This is similar to me. I don't know what you guys think. But we had the parabolic run-up, which was in November and earlier. We had the massive crash we just had, and now we're getting the beginning of the second leg up, which could be, you know, anywhere between, you know, 110, 115, 120, 125. We'll have to see where it stops off. But I think if you start taking profits above like 110, you're going to be in for a winner. Archie, I'm broke AF. I want to take out a loan. Think it's worth the risk. Small loan, 5K for smart blue chips like SUI, Casper, Say, Render, and Tau. I wouldn't take a loan for crypto, bro. You know, maybe I'd take a loan for like the S&P 500, and I'm not recommending that. I want to be very clear. Just telling you what I would do. I wouldn't take out a loan for crypto. I wouldn't do that. So, yeah, if you're asking me, I wouldn't be doing it. I would try and get your cash flow up as much as you can, whether that's working overtime, whether that's starting a side hustle, whether that's starting a new business, whatever that is, right? I would try and do that over taking a loan. But if you really, really know what you're doing, like Michael Saylor, then maybe. But the reality is most people probably aren't Michael Saylor, right? With massive cash flowing businesses where they can do that. If you have a massive cash flowing business and you're a multimillionaire, right, which you said you're not, so then, you know, you can take out loans because you've got the cash flow coming in every month to pay it off if you need to. But most people trying to take out loans probably haven't got a ton of cash flow, in which case it's a very risky endeavor. Loans should only be taken when your cash flow is very, very high. That is my stance on loans. And you're saying that you don't have that, so I wouldn't be doing that. I would be trying to get your cash flow up. That would be my primary goal. Yeah, I'm not doing any individual coin reviews today. I don't even know what your name is, but I'm not doing individual coins today. I do individual coin reviews in VIP live streams, but I'm not doing it here because quite often what people do when they ask me to review an individual low cap, they share an absolute scam coin. And, you know, a ton of bots come in to try and share scams and stuff like that. So I try not to do individual coin reviews too much unless I actually know the coin myself. If I know the coin, then I'll review it. But I didn't even see what the coin you put was. I just see it's an RWA play. That's all I see. But guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today's stream. I hope it was valuable. We went over a lot in the beginning. We talked about, you know, cyclical context. We talked about Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance, gold, S&P 500, DXY. We talked about a lot, okay? Bear it, I mean take profits on altcoins. When Bitcoin gets like 110K and above, you want to probably be DCing out. That's what I'm saying. But you can sell before then if you want. Unfortunately, I don't have super chats enabled. I got demonetized from YouTube. So if anyone here works at Google or YouTube, please reach out to me. But I got demonetized like a year ago. Thank you. We appreciate you. Appreciate that. Appreciate you guys as well. So I'll see you guys in the next stream. Probably be doing another one tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a video. I'll have to decide tomorrow. But hit the likes. Check out the link in the description to the VIP sale. Like I've said, that sale will be going soon. Once Bitcoin probably gets into like the 90s, I'll be removing the sale. So that could be today. That could be tomorrow. Who knows? But it'll be going very, very soon. So take full advantage. Get yourself in the best group in crypto. You can track my alerts, group calls, live streams, all that good stuff. And yeah, see you guys over there. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Goodbye.